Hello, Dragonkeeper 19600 here, and welcome to the second Les Mis Editorial, where I talk about various things in the book, do a little analysis, little character studies, and see what I think about various things. Having to do with the story, of course. Not just anything that comes off my head. Anyway, today is a little different, because I'm not going to do much analysis. I'm just going to talk about something that's sort of a pet peeve of mine. Let's talk about the Thenardiers. Monsieur Thenardier and his wife, who is simply referred to throughout most of the book as the Thenardiers, are characters that appear in most adaptions of Les Miserables, and in most adaptions they're usually portrayed as the comic relief. Monsieur Thenardier is sort of a weaselly car salesman type character, I guess, who's constantly trying to extort money using mostly harmless means and some not so harmless means to get cash, moolah. Coin. And he seems overwhelmingly obsessed with that. Madame Thenardier is his boorish, shrill-voiced wife, who is pretty much into the same thing. These characters are portrayed mostly as clowns, especially if you look at them in the film, the 2012 film and the stage adaptations. Look at them! What's up with the hair? What's up with the makeup? What's up with them? And of course, I don't even need to talk about the song they sing, Master of the House, which is pretty much everyone's favorite song. It's one of my personal favorites, and in my book, it deserves to be in one of the best villain songs of all time. But what's kind of unusual about Master of the House is that, this is unusual for both musicals and villain songs, is that Master of the House is actually one of the most lighthearted songs in the entire show. I mean, it's a villain song. Villain songs are usually the darkest songs, but the rest of this musical is so dark that actually the song about the villains is the most lighthearted, because it's about the comic relief. It's about the clowns. Yes, the song shows some of the Thenardiers, both of them, their worst qualities, but it does so in a fun way. If you look at this version of the song in the 2012 movie, you're laughing through most of it if you're not scratching your head in confusion because the editing goes by so fast. I remember they put in a running gag in the 2012 film where Thenardier was unable to remember Cosette's name, calling her Colette, Cogette, and so on. You know, just a little quirky comic relief thing. Now, this would lead many people who have only seen the adaptions and never read the books to think that Thenardier is by nature a comical character. But you know better, don't you, Les Miserables fan? You know that that's not how it is. In the book, the Thenardiers are, sort of the embodiment of all evil. They're the manifestation, physical personification, whatever you want to call it, of society's and humanity's worst qualities. They have no redeeming, especially Monsieur Thenardier, has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. He's cruel, he's greedy, he's wrathful, and most of all, he's subtle. Subtlety is not something that most other Thenardiers grasp at all. Like, at all. He could be very convincing. I remember there's a description in the book where Thenardier is everybody's friend. And yeah, they kind of say that in the adaptions and in the 2012 movie, but look at this man. How could he be friends with everybody? He's so obviously evil. I mean, the hair and the constant pickpocket. Nobody sees that? Yeah, Book Thenardier was much more clever and much darker. There are several points where there's a point where he outright threatens to kill Jean Valjean and wants him to lure Cosette to the house where he's hiding so that he can. It never says what. That's a little scary. There's one point I remember, which is in the unabridged version, so I won't be reading out loud, where he forces his daughter Azelma to break a glass window with her bare hand, hoping that she'll cut herself, because if she cuts herself, they might be able to get more pity and therefore more money from any benefactors. That's scary stuff, and it's not the least bit funny. When they blackmail, pretty much they're blackmailing Fantine, okay? Constantly asking her for money for her daughter. When they abuse Cosette, physically abuse her, and neglect her. When Thenardier runs around at the battle after Waterloo and steals from dead soldiers. these are not comical people. These are scary-ass people. So, what's up with the severe change? Why do they go from pretty much black-hearted assassins, who are genuine threats, to clowns? Well, I have a few theories to why this might be. First of all, Les Miserables the musical, as far as Broadway goes, is pretty dark. I mean, Broadway's full. The genre overwhelmingly is full of, you know, jazzy dance numbers, happy songs, uplifting stuff. There are exceptions. Les Miserables is not the only depressing musical, but Les Miserables is unusual in that regard. So, to prevent, I guess, audience members from killing themselves from all the other drama, they felt the need to create a comic relief character. The Thenardiers, who do have several funny moments in the books, though not any more than in maybe some other characters, sort of funny. They live to the end, which is a plus, for a comic relief character usually lives to the end. Otherwise, they become not so funny in subsequent viewings. And they just sort of have a personality that seems to fit readily into the, template, I suppose, of what a comic relief character ought to be. The Weasley car salesman archetype is one that pretty consistently exists in Western fiction, I guess is the word. However, I don't feel like this is really necessary to tell the story. I mean, the Thenardiers are one of the main... the word villain is sort of iffy in the Les Miserables story, since it has full spectrum morality, but when you get down to wanting to play a villain as a person, the Thenardiers, especially Monsieur Thenardier, who is the worst out of the two, and is the one who actually lives to the end of the book, spoilers, is, yeah, the villain, pretty much. But most adaptions I focus on Javert as the main villain, and make the Thenardiers just sort of annoying, I guess. This is a mistake, by the way, I'll talk about later. And while I do suppose that a musical could use some comic relief, can anybody direct me to an adaptation where they're portrayed as scary? Like, legitimately scary? That would be really excellent, actually. And if there isn't one, could someone please make it? I mean, Les Miserables is one of the most adapted works in all of Western canon. Another adaptation is gonna come out someday. Like, probably not now, because the timing's really bad, because the 2012 movie is fresh in everyone's minds. But someday, please make the Thenardiers a little bit more like their book selves. That would make me really happy. That really would. I mean, if you want to do comic relief, there are tons of other comic relief characters you could do. In fact, what about Mrs. Maurice's grandfather? I mean, he's hilarious, and he's usually not in many adaptions at all. And he lives to the end! I mean, come on! He's just sitting there! He's perfect! Somebody include him! If you want to have a comic relief character, by all means use him! I mean, the 2012 movie sort of had him in a few brief cameos, but, you know, he didn't really do much, and is it just me, or does he look like the Pringles guy? So, yes. Bottom line, Thenardiers, epitome of evil. Make them that way. That is all I have to say. Thank you. I mean, hey, villains are enjoyable too. Great villainy in fiction puts a smile on my face. Why not?